hit it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. And you know what time it is. It is time for the Super Bowl. Ooh-wee. And will we have a good one? Cindy versus Barbecue City. Them KC masterpieces. For the Super Bowl. Oh, I don't know. I can barely keep from peeing on myself. I'm Spitface. Please welcome our host, the First Lady of Sports Talk, Cheryl Smith. Welcome to the show this morning.
Good morning. Good morning. My goodness, the Super Bowl is making you do that. All right.
and we had and I see that the bearskin rug has floated into the studio. Dizzy Matt, are you ready for the Super Bowl?
Yes. Hey, you know what? Spitface, just don't twinkle on my bearskin rug.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now, this week on Shout Out, we have performances from the Funktastic Players, where they find their shining star, get the cold feel of the mute button. First Lady, we're ready. What you saying?
Each week, we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world, not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something? So we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdies known as Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler have flown far, far away from Dallas and Miami, respectively. Dallas got AD and LA got Luka. Who got the better part of this deal? Miami got rid of an unhappy Jimmy Butler who ended up going to the Warriors. Is this just what the doctor ordered for Golden State? Is Luka going to LA a sign that the Lakers are hedging their bet on a future without LeBron or winning now? Did these trades steal the news from the NFL during Super Bowl week? Marvelous Marvin Hagler, rest in peace, Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? So, Spitface and Dizzy Matt, I got a lot to say, so it's going to be a little bit. I'm going to tell you, I got a lot to say. That was a crazy week in the NBA. This was supposed to be Super Bowl week in New Orleans. It is an understatement to say that the NBA stole the news this week from the NFL. And you want to know something? I'm glad they did, because I've been angry with the NFL for taking over Christmas when it's not on a Sunday. You know, if Christmas is on a Sunday, okay, you can have a football game. But they've been taking over our territory for the NBA. They've been having these games, NFL slate of games, on non-Sunday Christmas Day. So payback is something I'm glad the NBA has won this week, because we really haven't even been talking about the Super Bowl all week. We've been talking about the NBA trading deadline, which will end on today. Well, with all that being said, the Luka trade to Lakers was shocking. I mean, everybody was stunned. I mean, to the point where ESPN basketball insider Shams Charania had to include, yes, this is real, on his tweet when he was breaking the news, because many people thought his account was hacked. No, it wasn't hacked. The trade actually went down, that they traded Luka, a generational talent, to the Lakers for Anthony Davis and a whole bunch, whatever, the rest of the thing. The main thing, it was about AD and Luka. Now, I just got to give a little background. You know me, I like to give background information. So let's just see how we got here. Dallas drafted Trae Young and traded him to Atlanta for Luka Doncic. At the time, Mark Cuban owned the Mavericks. And you know what? Mark Cuban has always said, this is the truth. He said this. He said he would divorce his wife before he would trade Luka. Well, the Mavs are under new ownership because Cuban sold his majority stake to the billionaire Miriam Adelson and her family. You know, these are casino tycoons out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm bringing this up because GM Nico Harrison indicated the reason that the trade went down is because a defense wins championship. And they felt that Luka didn't play defense, nor he was committed to the right conditioning. He was always overweight. You know, Luka liked to eat and drink beer. Okay. Well, the problem is Luka always was having these injuries that were directly related to his conditioning because he's had his calf injury like 3 times. And I think they felt it was, related to him being out of shape. Well, you know what? I mean, we're talking about a man that brought them to 2 conference finals and last year to the NBA finals with his lack of conditioning. So to me, he's only 25 years old. I mean, they must have really felt that they could not reach this man. I mean, we're talking about you don't give up on generational talent. I really, really believe that the Adelson family did not want to give Luka that Supermax contract, which was 5 years, $345 million. We're talking about giving one player, $69 million per year. I guess the Adelson family said, no, we're not going to pay them. Because, the Adelson family, the reason why they basically bought the Dallas Mavericks, because they wanted to establish a resort in Dallas. So I guess they felt they needed to become the fabric of the community, and this was going to help them. But trading Luka is not going to help these people. I mean, you saw all the news. The fans are upset. They're turning in their season ticket holders. I mean, they literally brought coffins to the arena and sat them in front of the arena. I mean, that's really drastic. I mean, the fans in Dallas are really, really upset. But, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, really, would Nico Harrison make this decision on his own? No. I think he was told to not, to trade him, and he will be the fall guy on this situation. Yes, he will be a fall guy. So anyway, when you look at the trade from the face value of the trade, I would say the Lakers won the deal because they didn't have to give up too much for Luka. I mean, I know they gave up Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a big-time player, trust me, but he's not Luka. And Luka has, like I said, Luka has been 5 times NBA All-Team. And another thing, too, they're talking about Luka being injured a lot. Did they forget that AD had many injuries? I mean, the past 2 years, he's played a lot of games, but his history is not great. Remember, Charles Barkley used to call him street clothes. So they only had to give up 1 draft pick. They didn't even have to give up a young talent like Dalton Knecht or Austin Reeves. So I would say the Lakers won today because they still have Luka, and they can have Luka for at least 10 years. Now, the Lakers are looking, to me, this trade really says more about the Lakers is looking at their future rather than their current state. I know you got LeBron James here, but you know what? When you get a generational talent with 25-year-old Luka, who will be 26 this year, I mean, you can't worry about today. You're going to worry about the length of having this individual with you. So as great as LeBron is, I just don't see this team winning a championship this year. I know they've made some other trades. And basically, they got a center from Charlotte, Mark Williams. I really even haven't heard about him. But anyway, they based that center on Luka. They didn't even consider LeBron. They said Luka needs an athletic center. So they went out and got an athletic center for Luka. So it just tells you they're focusing on Luka and not LeBron. So I really think that they're not worrying about winning a championship this year. Even I don't think they're worrying about winning a championship next year. This is about the Luka era. And, kudos to the Lakers because they always get generational talent. They trade for everybody that's a big star, and they always get it. I mean, what you can say, L.A., La La Land is where the stars are, and I don't know how this one fell into their lap, but it did. Now, moving along to the Jimmy Butler leaving Miami. Good riddance. That's all I can say. Good riddance. Okay? I mean, let me tell you something. I used to be a season ticket holder for the Miami Heat. I gave up my season tickets. I can't stand Jimmy Butler. Never liked him. I hated him when he was with the Heat. But you know what? I'm glad he's gone, and I'm quite sure Pat Riley is glad he's gone, too. And you want to know, Pat Riley did Pat Riley did the best that he could with this deal. I mean, they do receive Andrew Wiggins. P.J. Tucker is being reunited. They tried to get rid of Kyle Anderson, but right now they have Kyle Anderson. They call him Slow-Mo. They have a protected number 1 pick. I mean, Riley did not want long-term contracts. He wanted his flexibility with cap space for 2026. He got it. These players are not on long-term contracts. So he did what he needed to do. Now the problem for the Heat, all the superstars are either signed long-term or they was just traded to new teams. Luka and De'Aaron Fox, because those two people were on the radar for the Miami Heat. So it just didn't happen, but who knows who's going to come out in 2026. But guess what? The Miami Heat will be players. All right. Let me go to Dizzy Mac. Dizzy Mac, what you saying about this?
Man, well, you said it all for me because I knew you were not a Jimmy Butler fan. I knew that. I knew when you gave up your season tickets, I knew you just said good riddance. But, Jimmy forces his way out of another situation into a situation where if he gets the attitude like he got Miami again, he'll just be made to jump off the Golden State Bridge. But good riddance, again, prima donna athletes, my way or the highway, where he was shown the highway, all the way out to the Golden State. And with Luka, hey, let's just face it, he had never had a big brother or a mentor in Dallas. I'm sure J-Kid did as much as he could, but when he mentioned defense, Luka said, what? What's that? So he's probably better off in LA where LeBron can say, hey, this is how you get your body together. This is how you do it. This is what we're trying to do. You have to play defense. You have to play team ball. You have to move the ball, which is not a problem. But I think watching him and how he treats his body and having a mentor like LeBron will help him understand, this is how you do grown man business. This is how you stay in the league. This is what you do to make sure that, hey, your teammates respect you, so work on your body. So I think those trades and all, one is a good one because LA has the next face of their franchise. And Steph Curry, get used to Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler swinging because they're going to be swinging. I wish Jimmy Butler would be in a possession like Jordan Poole. Believe me, they'd be still scrapping.
All right. Yeah, you got two strong personalities there, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. All right, Spitface, what's your take on this?
First Lady, I was with everyone. I was like, I could not believe that Luka got traded to anybody. To anybody, just Luka traded. Like, no way. And I don't know what Dirk Nowitzki had to say, but I'm sure that it was probably profane laced.
No, he just had an emoji. He just had an emoji of a sad face. He did respond. It was an emoji of a sad face. That's all he put on there.
Right. I mean, that's all we saw. But, sitting around with the family and friends when he heard the trade, I know there was some expletive deleters that were mentioned out of Dirk's mouth. And I'll put it like this: given that he's a champion, he know the deal, and I just could not believe it. And LA definitely got the better deal because they got Luka, and there is, like I said, I'm just still shocked because there is nothing about Luka's game at 25 years old that can't get worked on, whether that's his health and conditioning or being a better defensive player. I'm not going to diss the coaches, but I'm going, coaches, come on. Do you need to get Dr. Phil on the team to tell the man, tell the man he need to, you need to take care of his body and, or hypnotize him or something? No. You need some leadership. And I can't say if that's more on the part of a, quote, mentor, but I'm going, look, in today's NBA, I don't know how much mentoring these folks need other than the skills of the game. Because personality-wise, this is the internet generation, Gen X and Z and millennials and all of that stuff. So everything is at their fingertips. And Luka know the deal. Now, if he don't want to behave, you have to, now you might have to go, okay, Luka, in your case, you need to act your shoe size as opposed to your age, because he got some big feet. His shoes probably a size older than his actual age. So there's nothing about his game that can't be worked through, that everybody ends up having to go through. And Luka is not going to turn into a Charles Barkley. He ain't gonna let Krispy Kreme get him. Now he might let that beer get him, but hey, work on that. That can be worked on. So and LA fans, LeBron is a Hall of Fame superstar with the superstar, and so that kind. And it's gotten to a point where I'll say that conversation is dull. It's like, whoopee, yep, okay, LeBron, we know you're going to the Hall of Fame. We know you want to win. And there's just no, life to it anymore. And when you look at the championship he won for the Lakers, that was the COVID year. And it's starting to look more and more like the circumstances lined up more so than LeBron came to the Lakers, took that team to it really, with time, it's starting to look more and more like, hey, guy, you lucked out. You lucked out, and you took it back. Good for you because you got another ring. But the feel of that being an accomplishment is starting to be in the rear view mirror. And the Lakers have done so much to appease LeBron, to, pull this hoodoo voodoo that like the Lakers are going to win another championship. And, bank your, you want to get tickets, because it's about selling the tickets, making the money. And LeBron does that. But the sense I'm getting as a fan on the streets is that with all the talent LeBron still has, which is better than probably 95% of the NBA or somewhere in that figure, it is just starting to diminish. And as they say, it's a young person's league. And these players, are realming into shape. Even Steph knows, hey, it's time to, now I give Steph a better chance of winning another championship than I give LeBron. So that's why I'm on that. I give Curry a better chance. So I could see him, more than the Lakers with the game they playing. Now, and I guess that eases on into to Jimmy Butler and the Warriors. Jimmy is an interesting character. That is one thing. He is an interesting character. And the big chip on his shoulder is, he's like that comedian. He just don't get no respect. And even when he get respect, it still just ain't the respect. So Jimmy has a huge chip on his shoulder. And but he needed to go. He wasn't serving Miami. Miami wasn't serving him. The marriage was over, divorce time. Now, how he played it, while Miami got to deal with it, but the way Jimmy played it, it really has boxed him into the end of his career. Like, dude, you got to make it work with Golden State, because if you don't make it work, this is, you go float, you may or may not float around the league, but you're flirting with retirement, and that's just how that party rolls. Because, you got that chip, no respect. And you've gotten a lot of respect, but I get it just ain't been like Steph Curry respect or LeBron James respect. But you ain't that good. Not as them, but as a superstar in the league, you got respect. Going to the Warriors, there are a couple of things that Jimmy does really good, which will help Steph Curry out. Because, Jimmy ain't afraid to go into the paint. He ain't, and Jimmy ain't afraid to play some defense. So I think Golden State got Jimmy Butler at the right time in Jimmy Butler's career, where he knows he needs to show he can play ball. One, as a player, and two, as a teammate. So Miami did the best they could do given the situation. Golden State may have lucked up and got somebody on the team where they can make that one run while Steph Curry is still playing. So, and did the NBA steal the news? So, I have to be honest. After the conference championships, I turn off the NFL until the week of the Super Bowl, because to me it's just oversaturated with and every crumb get paid. If I had to hear Kelsey's name one more time, if I had to hear Saquon, so I mean I love them as players. I like all of that, but I'm about okay. Because there's literally rarely any news. It's just regurgitation of opinion. And so to me, I almost don't turn on the game. If it wasn't for Broad Status in Sports, I probably wouldn't turn on anything about the Super Bowl until an hour before kickoff. So, thank you, NBA, for actually providing some interesting. It's been wild over in the NBA. So, thank you, NBA. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you know what? I didn't even address the Golden State aspect, and as far as I'm concerned, Jimmy Butler has lost a step. So, I mean, he might get them into the playoffs, but is he really going to show up as Jimmy playoff Butler? I don't think so. I really think that he may get them into the playoffs, because right now they're not even in the play-in right now. But I don't think they will go far. That West is a beast. Too many good young teams, and I'm sorry, the Golden State Warriors is an old team. They'll be run out the arena. And Faith and Dizzy, mark my words, there is going to be a 30 for 30 story on this Luka trade because we really won't know the results until after his career. But I guarantee you, somebody is going to do a documentary. All right, Spitface, over to you.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my fears, putting suckers to bear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion overpowered. Over the competition, I'm towering. Wrecking shop when I drop these lyrics and I make you call the cops. Don't you dare spare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest that'll get all smice and dice. Competition, paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out, huh? Mama said knock you out, huh? We are talking about the knockout punch to the Buffalo Bills, who once again found themselves looking outside the Super Bowl by KC. Is this a case of Michael Jordan and the Bulls in the form of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, where no matter how great a player, you ain't winning if they around? Barkley. As the window closed for the Bills, will Josh be another Peyton Manning and sneak in a Super Bowl win years down the road? Leroy Satchel Paige, Walter Buck Leonard, and James Cool Papa Bell are asking what you say. Yeah, now, Bills Mafia, I feel you. I feel your pain. I do. I grew up in Chicago. So we had a lot of losing teams. Baseball, basketball, football. We was just, and so we was always holding out that hope that this would be the time that they would turn it around and win something. And, our time came. We had the Bulls winning. The White Sox won a World Series. The Cubs won a World Series. And the Blackhawks, well, they had won a couple of that, but they won. They messed around and won a couple. So we got the taste of victory, how it feels. Now, things haven't been so great, for, our teams over the last 10, 20 years, but, some of us are old enough to relish in them days. It's like a Knicks fan. You got the old school Knicks fans. They can really relish when the Knicks was whipping butt. And you got the new Knicks fans. They aren't able to quite relish it, but they know about it, so they can dream. Now, but the older Knicks fans, they're like, come on, one more time. Let me see it one more time. So, that's how a Chicago it is. Come on, y'all, one more time. Get me one, one more time. So, but it reminds me more, it does remind me of the Colts and the Patriots. Patriots winning Super Bowls. And hear the coach whooping your butt during the regular season. And what was the rap on Peyton? Couldn't win in the playoffs. Couldn't, and there was a year, and unfortunately, it was the year that the Bears made it to the Super Bowl, where they made it and won it. And that was it. They made it, they won it, and that was it. It was like, okay, we got no new stuff by you. You made it, and that's about all you getting out of us. Now, Peyton did, of course, get a second ring by going to a team that had a bear-like, 85 bear-like defense that allowed him to be a game manager, as they say, and they won the Super Bowl. So Peyton got that second one, but it wasn't with the Colts. I think Josh is in the same situation. There will be a point where the Chiefs will not make it to the Super Bowl, and it may have nothing to do with the Bills per se, but whoever the Chiefs particularly are playing, it is going to happen. And if the Bills keep knocking at that door, that is when they will slip in and win them one. So I think it will be pretty much like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, where Peyton got to sneak one in. The Bills would be able to sneak one in. But First Lady, will Bills Mafia ever savor the taste of a Super Bowl victory? First Lady?
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, we're not having any technical problems. Okay. Well, the playoff game between the Bills and Kansas City Chiefs, these games have been really epic. I mean, they have been great games, and it was such a great conference champion game. It's a shame that somebody had to lose. I felt sorry for Josh Allen because he couldn't win this game. And the thing is, though, I always say I don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. And to be honest with you, Josh Allen did not come up big in the game when he needed to come up big in the game. He had a chance to win or tie the game, and he had 1 minute and 39 minutes left in the game. Josh threw 2 incomplete passes. Then he only threw a pass for 5 yards, and then it came down to a 4th down play. Granted, he threw a spectacular pass that maybe Kincaid should have caught. It was a difficult catch, even though it went through his hand. So Josh didn't get the job done, whereas Mahomes got the job done. He got a field goal. So, so that's the difference. Basically, to me, that sums up the battle of the Titans. Mahomes always wins, and Josh doesn't. That's just you can't get any basic than that. He had a chance to win the game. He didn't win the game. Now, I don't think the window has closed for the Bills because they do have a revamped roster this year, and they have guys that primarily are in their prime. It's not an old aging roster. So, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they don't have to worry about that. So Josh still has some chance to win a Super Bowl. But the problem for Josh, he and Patrick Mahomes are pretty much around the same age. I think Patrick may be a year older than him. So the fact that they're around the same age seems like Patrick Mahomes is always going to be there. So, I know you use analogy, spit-face of Peyton and Tom Brady. Brady was always there in Peyton's way. Well, Patrick is going to be there in Josh's way. Unless Patrick decides to retire early, maybe that will happen. But I actually don't even see a Peyton Manning outcomes for Josh at this point. Is he going to wake? Can he get a championship later on in life? I don't know. I don't think so, especially as long as Patrick Mahomes is there. So, unless Mahomes decides to really retire early, maybe he'll do an Andrew Luck, because maybe, if he wins this, I don't know, because, he can go after Tom Brady's record, too. So there's a little bit more reasons for Patrick not to retire. But then again, you never know. Family becomes important. Maybe he might decide he wants to see his children grow up. So, but anyway, I just don't see Josh Allen getting a Super Bowl at this point in time. That's all I'm saying.
So the Chiefs will always make it to the Super Bowl. Okay, First Lady.
I'm not saying they're going to always make it to the Super Bowl, but Josh hey, that's 4. How many times he hasn't won? 4 times, right? 4 times.
I'm just saying that even the Patriots didn't make it to the Super Bowl every year.
No, they didn't make it every year.
That's all. I was just saying, hey, now wait, and it don't have to be the Bills taking them out. It might be the Ravens.
Yeah, it's a tough division, so that's the whole point. The AFC is a tough division.
The Bills may luck up and have another team knock the Chiefs out. Because but Dizzy Mac over there on that bearskin rug, I see you chomping at the bit.
Yes, Spitface. I'm always chomping at the bit. But Josh Josh Allen is chomping at the bit. He's been biting. He's been trying to shake it, but he's been bit. He's been bit, First Lady. He's been bit by the Jim Kelly disease. It's tough to live in Buffalo and play in Buffalo. Wide right, Jim Kelly, Cornelius Bennett, all of them. It's a slippery slope when it starts snowing in Buffalo. And I think Jim Kelly cast his Hall of Fame shadow, and Josh Allen is just caught up in it. I think what he needs are the playmakers around him. I think he needs help on defense because time and time again, Patrick Mahomes finds a way. Andy Reid has conditioned him well to always have a deep bag, and Patrick Mahomes has a deep bag. He goes in his bag like Kyrie. He goes in his bag like LeBron. He goes in his bag like, the famous athletes like Jordan had the bag. Brady had the bag. He can go in the bag and come out with W after W after W. So I just think that he's in a tough situation, and they'll never quite get the things he needs. And again, everybody else is getting what they want. People want to play with Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. They want to play with these guys. They want to play for Mike Tomlin. They want to play. It's going to be tough. I can't wait to see what my boys in Las Vegas do. The Raiders. People want to play in these destinations. People don't want to play in Buffalo. People don't want to get caught and get bit by the curse. It's tough. It's tough. I just think that no matter how hard Josh Allen plays, he plays hard. He's a good quarterback. I like him a lot. I like what he brings to the table. But why be at the table by yourself? Nobody else is eating but him. You can't name, Von Miller already has a ring with Peyton Manning, so he's taken care of. He was the MVP. So he's got his ring, weighing it right now. And last segment, I omitted mentioning the NFL because, like Spitface, regurgitating all the information. I don't want to see nothing but the NFL till kickoff. I don't want to hear them talking heads, or I should say squawking heads. But and they do squawk. But no. I just think that he's made us spoil and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs because they find a way. They find a way. They got Taylor Swift in the stands rooting for him. All them Swifties. He can't fight through that. There's like a swarm. It's like the beehive. It's a swarm of Chiefs. No matter what he does. Again, incomplete, 5 yards. And, you put your man in a tough position and make a tough catch. It's 50-50. Will he catch it? Will he not? And we saw what 50% won out. And who's to say that they will be able to get to these heights year after year? Next time, Mark Andrews will probably catch the ball. He won't fumble. He won't go, oops. My bad. Yeah, next time, Lamar may say, you know what, bump that. I'm just going to run it in. So these things have a way of staying connected. Just like that Billy Goat. for all them years in Chicago, the Billy Goat. You know, it lasted a long time. And we saw a lot of players retire, a lot of good players retire, good pitchers, good infielders, hitters, Billy Williams, Johnny Banks, Fergie Jenkins. They should have won a ring. They should have won some rings, as good as they were, you know, but that GOAT, that Black Cat, you know, you remember the Black Cat first lady? And
yeah, that's the Cowboys.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, that just added extra years onto the GOAT and the Black Cat. That added extra years. Another 25 years.
All right. And on that note, First Lady, you have the last word. Please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from the Funktastic Players out on Shout Out Part 1.
Bring back the bar.
Watch out for the Black Cat. Welcome back. The music flows in from around the globe. To get a shout out for the panel, First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from the Funktastic Players.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. On the first part of Shout Out, we are featuring music from the Funktastic Players out of Springdale, Arkansas, from their hit album, Get Off of That Thing. All right. They say, quote, we are the perfect blend of 70s soul, 80s hip-hop, and contemporary jazz. Imagine Maceo Parker, Gerald Albright, and the Tribe Called Quest formed a group. That's a lot. Okay, that would be the best way to describe the mighty Funktastic Players. All right, DJ, let's hear their first track from their hit album, Get Off of That Thing.
We're back. Yeah, we're back. We're back. The mighty Funktastic Players. Yeah. Get it. So funky. Yeah. Say get up off of that thing and dance you feel better. Say get up off of that thing and try to leave that pressure.
All right, the funk. They were good. They brought in the funk there. I mean that old James Brown Maceo song. Get up off of that thing. You can do better. All right, so Funktastic Players. I'm definitely going to shout them out. Fit Face, what did you think? Are you going to shout them out?
The Funktastic Players was funky. I'm shouting it out.
All right. And Dizzy Matt, what'd you think? You giving a thumbs up?
Oh, yeah. We shouting them out from the Bearskin Rub. We shouting them out.
All right. They coming from a hit place. I'll tell you, they can really play that music. All right. On part 2 of Shout Out, we'll be featuring another performance from the Funktastic Players. And speaking of performance, is that the sound of our favorite underwater friend? Is it time for a flip it? Because, he was flipping back and forth with that music.
All right, it's time for Flip It, where our hosts defend a point and then flip the script and defend the opposing view. Brian Schottenheimer is the new head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Will he prove to be another Jason Garrett? Defend. The owner loves Brian. Thus he does what the boss says and has Jason Garrett success. Personally, I was looking at old Brian, and I love when someone is promoted up through the ranks. They started, at the bottom and worked their way up to be the top dog. I love that kind of story. But that's not exactly the case with Brian. Not quite. And given that what Brian is going to do is exactly what Boss Man Jones says, he will not be able to help himself but have similar Jason Garrett success. And what that is that you ain't seeing no Super Bowl. You probably not even seeing an NFC conference championship game. Because if memory serves me, I don't think Jason got them that far in any playoff scenario. But I may be incorrect on that one. So, but either way, you will not be seeing a Super Bowl because Jason Garrett did not get them to anybody's Super Bowls. But he did what the boss said, and probably was one of the longest Cowboy coaches. And, I had to make sure that we had to tell the writers that it's actually not the Dallas Cowboys. They are the Cowboys. They're in Arlington. And, the Bears are moving, to Arlington, too? But Arlington, Illinois. So, really, they're the Cowboys. So, as long as he does what the boss man says, he will have, I'll say, equal, maybe slightly better results than Jason, but pretty much in that same ballpark. And Dak Prescott, it really is familiar. Jason Garrett had Tony Romo, who broke every Cowboy record except the ones that were like playoff and Super Bowl because they didn't see none of that. Here's Dak. Dak got stats up to the zoo and won nothing. So I think Dak is Tony Romo on steroids, which is, hey, I can beat up any team that ain't got a winning record, but once it's on the line, you want Josh Allen. First Lady defend. Brian will have Jason Garrett level success.
Well, Jason Garrett coached the Cowboys from 2010 to 2019. He had a 55% percentage winning record. That's pretty good, 55%. His record was 87-70. However, he was only in the playoffs 3 times. 2014, they lost to the Packers in the division round. 2016, they lost to the Packers in the divisional round. That's when they had the first seed, so that was an upset. And in 2018, they lost to the Rams in the divisional round. So Garrett won 2 wild card games under his reign. So I guess if Brian follows this pattern, it would be no different than any other recent Cowboy coach. McCarthy only had 1 playoff game. McCarthy only won 1 playoff game. That was a a wild card game, but they only went to one divisional round. So basically, Garrett had a decent run considering the other coach. The key for Brian, basically Brian was the Cowboys' second choice. The Cowboys really wanted to re-sign Mike McCarthy, but they couldn't agree to a contract and probably control because, I think McCarthy wanted to change something. So Brian Schottenheimer, he's the person that they're going to give the coaching job to. I mean, he's been a career offensive coordinator, yet he was their offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, yet he didn't call plays. Mike McCarthy called the plays. He has the coaching experience, just not as a head coach. So I expect Schottenheimer to be just as good as the other coaches. He has the good pedigree because his father is Marty Schottenheimer. That's his father. So he knows how a great coach performs because he watched his father for years. So hopefully that should rub off on him. I expect his career with the Cowboys to be basically the same as Garrett. Nothing spectacular, nothing bad. I mean, he could have a decent run, but they're not going to win a Super Bowl. And I don't even know if they're going to get out of the divisional round to get to at least a championship, because right now that's the goal for them. They haven't been in a championship game in over 20-something years. So that's been the Cowboys' problem. So I just think Schottenheimer will be just as good as Jason Garrett.
All right, the mediocrity will settle in. Dizzy Matt, defend. Brian will have Jason Garrett level success.
I believe they'll equal out to be about the same because Brian Schottenheimer is used to being son, go get the paper. Son, go get take the trash out. Son, go bring me my slippers. Son, eat all your vegetables. Son, don't do this. Son, don't do that. So he's used to being sunned. And Jerry Jones will son him, just like he did Jason Garrett. Son, you're not good enough. Son, you're not as good as your father. I think he will ride the bumps like Jason Garrett did in Dallas, and he will probably reign supreme. The only difference he may not have from Jason Garrett is probably having Dak Prescott hold for field goals, so that he won't fumble away a winning opportunity, like Tony Romo did. But yes, I think he will have the same result as Jason Garrett. The only thing he won't have is Jason Garrett's red hair. He might not have hair after the 10 years with the Cowboys. All right, let's flip it. Defend. Brian will be lucky to have success anywhere near Jason Garrett. I see a short tenure. I'm looking at it, and while Jason Garrett, I'll say the Jason Garrett era was not one of the more fabulous eras for the Cowboys. It wasn't. Jason Garrett was not a great coach. He really falls in the category of an okay good coach. And most of the problem was Jerry Jones. And whatever Jason wanted to do, however he wanted to set up, it could all get turned around by the whims of a owner manager who wants to be the star of his own team. Now, why I say that Brian will be lucky to have success anywhere near Jason Garrett. Let's face it, the Cowboys are a train wreck that is waiting to happen. And Brian, being a first-time head coach, will not be able to weather the storm that's going to come from ownership.
Now, ownership is in the immediate. You always back who you put out there. You got to back that person. And they will do that. But there's a point where Jerry will start seething and saying, you know what? What really happened was we fell flat on re-signing McCarthy. And we fell flat because McCarthy said, look, I want to win, and you're going to have to give me a little more control so that my players aren't going around me or putting stuff on social media or where you react and tell me to do something. We got to cut that out. And so you messed around and couldn't sign McCarthy. And you took yourself out of being able to interview top candidates. They was all getting sucked up left and right. And you should have got Pete Carroll. But, really, you should have got Pete Carroll. And so I think that Brian is going to have a short tenure. I would be surprised if he gets to a second year. And part of that is that if Mike McCarthy, with the talent on that team, if this year was the best, and they had injuries and all of that, but if this is the best that can happen with Mike McCarthy, next year is going to be much worse for the Cowboys. And Brian, you will be the scapegoat. So I see a short tenure. Dizzy Mack, the Spin, Jason Garrett, Brian will have a short tenure as head coach.
Yes. Hey, Brian Schottenheimer, will have a short leash. Short leash. He will not get one step beyond the doghouse. Now, that's a short leash. Because as far as you can go is one step outside and then go back into the doghouse, he's going to have a short leash. So his tenure won't be as long as Jason Garrett's because Jerry Jones will have a short leash on him. He's already fitting him for the leash now. He's making sure that he does not pay too much into this contract and be having to pay this man much more money. He'll go back to being a coordinator quick. Because, again, if he can't fix that leaky defense like an Acme plumber, he's not going to last long as Big D. And you're going to leave Dak with CD Lamb, and that's all you got. CD Lamb will tear out them extensions in his hair and make sure he finished the season bald-headed. But no, he will not have. He will have a very short leash, very short. Again, like you said, all the good available coaching talent was sucked up. He waited too long to negotiate with Mike McCarthy. He said, hey, I'd rather sit at home. I'd rather sit at home and be alone than to be down here in Big D, asking where do I go from here. He'll catch on to the carousel the next year. He'll definitely do well. But no, Brian Schottenheimer does not have a long leash. I could see if he had been a head coach in the league, maybe, but he will not finish out his contract. He will not. You had your chance, so now you're fitting up for that short leash. And like I said, that leash is not like you said, the Cowboys playing Arlington, his leash won't even extend to Dallas. So he'll be stuck in Arlington at the stadium one step outside of the doghouse.
All right. Okay. First Lady, short tenure.
Well, this is typical of Jerry Jones being left with leftovers. I mean, they couldn't come to terms with Mike McCarthy. They waited too late to interview other coaches because they waited until his contract expired January 14, 2025 to start negotiating with him. And, of course, all the other candidates were interviewing and making decisions. So he stuck with Brian Schottenheimer. Now, who is Brian Schottenheimer? He's a long-time coach. He's been coordinator, offensive coordinator for several different teams, but he's never been a head coach. And there must be a reason he's never been a head coach. To be honest, I've never heard his name mentioned, even as a candidate for a head coaching job. That tells me something, that he's not good to be a head coach. So he's mediocre, just as Jason Garrett was. Schottenheimer will not be there as long as Garrett. Again, I have to reiterate, have you ever heard of Brian Schottenheimer as a head coach candidate? To me, nope. That says a lot. Because you see, in coaching circles, these same coaches get recycled and recycled and recycled for these jobs. And I've never heard of this man's name. Now, granted, he does come from good pedigree with Marty Schottenheimer, and he's been coaching for years, but no one has considered him as a head coach. The only person considered him as a head coach is, of course, Jerry Jones. And that's never had a head coaching job. Yeah, you are crazy. We know there's something going on with you, Jerry, mentally. You admitted it yourself. And this hire is proving it. You can say what you want to. He did, like I said, win 55% of his games, but it was mediocre when it came to playoffs. So I don't even think Schottenheimer is good. I just think this is just going to be another problem for the Dallas Cowboys. It is definitely going to be a short tenure.
All right. A short tenure. Well, First Lady, over to you for more flipping.
The Raiders hired Pete Carroll as their new head coach. Pete has said they are set to win now, not years down the road. Will Pete turn the Raiders around in the first year? Handle defend. They probably won't knock off the Chiefs, but they will compete in the AFC West. All right, Dizzy Mac, defend.
Oh, yeah, I'm a defend. I'm sitting on the Raiders' bearskin rug today because I knew you were going to ask this question. Pete Carroll is just what the doctor ordered. He's coming in, doing the things necessary to energize this team and the players. You have excellent players who will make sure that they do the things necessary to be a professional, do the things right, practice, making sure that they show up for all the functions. And he'll make sure that the Davises made the right decision. They will function well within the AFC West. I do say they will win one of the two games against KC this coming year. They will definitely, play well against Denver. They will definitely make sure that they play well in the division. Now, I know it's going to take some things. It's going to be some growing pains, but when he gets out the draft will be a key to make sure that they're starting their winning ways. And believe me, once he gets those players and gets them acclimated to the Raider way, they'll be contenders at the West. Now, depending on how bad, this is kind of foreshadowing, depending on how bad Philly roughs up Mahomes in the Super Bowl, will go a long way tell how they'll play against KC. You know, they'll uncover some things to make them defensive better, and I think they'll have a home for Max Crosby to get in there and get 6 sacks in the 2 games that they play against KC. They'll find a way and make sure that they expose KC's lack of offensive line. But Pete Carroll would definitely make them contenders.
All right. He's gonna make them contenders. All right, Spitface. Defend. They probably won't knock off the Chiefs, but they will compete in the AFC West. Defend.
You know, the Raiders are a interesting team. You just never know what you're gonna get. You know, it's just like, you know, how did they say? You know, the Raiders are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. And they made a better decision at head coach than the Cowboys did. They looked to a guy who has done something called winning. And for what, you know, Pete has his detractors, but none of them can argue that against the fact that he turned that Seahawks team around, got them to a Super Bowl, and kept them competitive for quite a while. They had been written off almost every season, and somehow, some way, Pete kept getting them in the playoffs, and you know, they could make some noise. Now, here, the Raiders have said, you know what, we need to bring in somebody who has that kind of track record and knows how to play against coaches like Andy Reid. And, hey, Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, you know, they kind of, you know, Andy Reid is younger, but they still old school coaches who, you know, and Pete is look, let's just beat up the other team. You know, he just smiles at you, though. So while you're getting your butt whooped, he's smiling at you. It's like, you know, he's like the friendly ass whooping coming. But which is what the Raiders need. Someone who knows what the hell they doing. And I think the other part is the ownership of the Raiders have, like, really looked and said, you know, we don't want to do a Jerry Jones. You know, maybe we don't know everything. And it might be better to let someone else, you know, dig into this organization with some. So I think the Raiders are in a great space, and as competitive as the AFC West is, they can compete. He will have them compete. Now, doesn't mean they'll make the playoffs, but I see them with a winning record, and nobody's easy out. It's not going to be easy. I'm not sure what he can do with the offense right away, but he's going to have that defense. Pete is going to have that defense together so that games are close and they're in every one. So too early to knock off the Chiefs, but they will compete in the AFC West.
All right. Too early to knock off the Chiefs. Absolutely. Well, you know, Pete Carroll is a darn good hire. I mean, he's a player's coach. He's well respected with cachet. He's won a Super Bowl, been to another Super Bowl. Could have won that, but you know he made a little mistake. We all know about that. He should have given the ball to beast mode, but anyway, it didn't happen. But also, Tom Brady is part owner of this Raiders team, a minority owner, and he was involved in the hiring process. So he approved of this hire, which says a lot. The Raiders, I mean, they have some key players that are young and have potential. You know, Pete Carroll has that rah-rah mentality. You know, like I said, he's a player's coach, but he's able to unleash their talent. I mean, I really thought Pete Carroll was an offensive-minded coach, if I'm not mistaken. He used to call the plays for the Seattle Seahawks. So I just think he's going to be able to turn around the offense. I think the Raiders' offense right now is a little bit better than their defense because they do got some young people on their offense. They got a nice tight end and everything. So, so I really think he's going to be a better coach than Antonio Pierce, who basically lost the locker room and made some bad decisions on the field. Now, Pete will have the team competing in year one. I mean, they're going to surprise a few teams, probably even within their division, but they're just not ready to move ahead the Chargers and the Broncos. I mean, the Chargers and the Broncos went to the playoffs. 3 teams in that division went to the playoffs. The Chiefs, we all know that, the Chargers, and the Broncos. Now, the Chargers got beaten in the first round. So, they got beaten in that first round. So, they're a little bit salty about that. And the Broncos really didn't even have the Chiefs. So I think they're going to come back prepared. And Pete Carroll's going to have them competing. But like you said, Smith, they're just not ready to go to the playoffs as of yet. But they will eventually be there. But at least they're not going to be the horrible Raiders in the past. They are going to be competing. All right, we're going to flip this script. Turning the Raiders around in one season is a tall order with the Chargers and the Broncos making noise. Look for a year 2 turnaround. All right, Spitface defend.
I think that Pete Carroll is going to have a massively good impact on the Raiders organization. That he's just that kind of guy. And he's the kind of guy that will say, look, I'm 70-something. I'm here at this practice earlier than you. I'm running like you run. Just not as fast. But, when players see that, it's hard to look at him and his leadership and then look at what you're doing and not work to measure up. So that attitude, that change of attitude is going to be like a breath of fresh air for the Raiders organization. Now they need help. They need talent. They need a quarterback. They need. And they'll address as much as they can with the draft and with free agency. But with the Chargers, with Harbaugh working with the Chargers and this was just his first year, they're going to be better next year. The Raiders, we're looking at Peyton has miraculously made Bo Nix a quarterback. And they're going to be better next year. And the Chiefs, we don't know. It's going to be some things happening with the Chiefs. There are going to be some players who are going to retire. And as good as they are, everybody eventually figures you out. So they've had a run, but I'm looking for some slippage with KC. So, but all 3 of those teams will be in it to win it, which kind of leaves the Raiders as the odd team out. And again, it's mainly because they need talent on both sides of the ball. And as good as Pete Carroll is, he can't get all the players he's really going to need so that in one season they're competing or playoff bound. But Pete knows what to do and what to say so that the Raiders can attract the type of players they need, and given a year to start bringing those folks in and getting them acclimated to the new direction of the Raiders, I see them being able to hang in every game and winning 1 or 2 that they shouldn't win. But at the end of the day, I don't see them having a winning record. But that second-year turnaround, watch out. That's what I'm saying, First Lady.
Okay, Dizzy Mac, defend.
I think anybody can see that it's going to take a year at least. He's got to get into the draft some pieces, see what he has on the roster, shake it out, see the ones that buy into his program stick, get rid of those who not ready to get in the mix, and just look at this year being able to assemble good pieces. Yes, Pepe said he needs a quarterback, and he definitely does. Aiden O'Connell and, Minshew, they just don't cut the mustard. Matter of fact, they should be looking for jobs. But they need a quarterback, and hopefully in the draft they can, maneuver themselves to get Shadir Sanders, or Cam Ward. But you got to get one of them two. And you're able to look at year two as the year that you start contending and start building on what you've done year one. It's the NFL, so you know what that means. Not for long. So year two, I can see him getting off to a better start. I think Tom Brady interjected that in their search. Is that, hey, take it easy on the old man. Give him a year to get his feet wet and back underneath him. 70 years old, oh yeah, that's definitely age for a head coach nowadays. But we like what Pete Carroll brings to the organization, but it's going to take a little time for him to be able to interject into the organization what he wants out of the organization, out of his players. So he'll get it done. He'll get it done. It just won't be year one.
All right, he's going to get it done, but not in year one. Well, the AFC West is a very, very competitive division. Of course, you got the Chiefs, and the Broncos and the Chargers went to the playoffs last year. So, I don't see them getting any worse than what they are. So how can Pete Carroll turn this team around immediately? That's going to be the key. How's he going to immediately turn them around? But it's not going to happen right away because, like I said, these are very good teams in a very competitive division. So he's going to have a plan to get better incrementally in the first year. As you said, Spitface, they need a quarterback. That's number one. They've got to get a new quarterback. Now, the question is, are they going to be able to get a quarterback with the sixth pick? So the question is, Cam Ward is definitely my number one, so I don't see Cam Ward being there at number 6 for the Raiders. There's a question whether or not Shadir Sanders will be there. From what's happening, I believe his stock has dropped a little bit. So Titans may not even take Cam Ward because they're maybe going for the defensive players. There's a lot of edge rushers in this draft. So is the chance that Sanders can slip? That hopefully that'll be something they need because if they can get to Doris Sanders, that's a start of turning around your season and turning it around. But he has to first develop the culture for the Raiders. They got to change that culture. It is not a winning culture. Pete Carroll is a culture changer. He did it in Seattle. He can do it here. He did it even when he went to, he was at USC, I believe, when he went to college. He's a winner. He's been a winner everywhere he's been. So, that's a start. You're bringing a winning coach that can help you change your culture. And then we all know culture is a big thing when it comes to winning. So that's what he needs to do first. And then, he can look at the schemes offensively and defensively for the players to follow. I mean, that's what it's all about. Once you get that culture, then you have to set up your plays. What type of team are you going to be offensively? What type of team you're going to be defensively? So, he has to remake this whole thing over. Unfortunately, Antonio Pierce didn't do a good job of remaking the entire team over. So that's why they got Pete Carroll. He's a difference maker. He's a culture builder. He can make things over, and that's what they need to do. But it's not going to happen in year one. It's definitely going to take an effect in year two. Again, the division is very competitive. So in the first year, they'll make a push for the playoffs, but it's not going to happen. But they're going to be competitive. But in year two, everything that Pete Carroll is about will come into play, and they will be able to do what they need to do. So I just think this is such a great hire for the Raiders. I know Raider Nation. I know you, Dizzy Mac, with your Raiders bearskin rug. I know you happy. This is a great hire for the Raiders. Raider Nation is going to be back on top, but it's going to be in year two. All right, Spitface, please take us to break.
On the other side of the break, we have another performance from the Funktastic Players. On Shout Out Part 2, please keep your ears glued to those speakers.
Welcome back. The music flows from around the globe to get a shout out from the crew. Spitface, over to you.
All right. On the second part of shout out, we are featuring more music from the Funktastic Players. Let's hear the title track, Funky Baby Blues. Funky Baby Blues. Not to be confused with just blues. We got the Funky Baby Blues.
Funktastic, play it! Funktastic Players. Funky soul music. That's the beat. Horn, blow.
All right, good God, First lady, what's the verdict? Is Funky Baby Booze getting a shout out or the mute button?
Oh yeah, I mean they're their namesake. They're funky as funky can. Yes, I'm going to shout it out.
All right, okay. You say funky as funky can be. Well, I'm giving it a shout out, and we'll see if that guy on the bearskin rug is available to give it a shout out or not.
Hey, yeah. You know, me and the Shimmy Shea girls were toe tapping and finger popping.
All right, we got a toe tap and a finger pop. All right, now let's see here. Well, that is the end of shout out. You can check out the Funktastic Players on the Old Grumpy Radio Network and Facebook. If you would like to be heard or have any comments, please send your emails and tracks to talent@oldgrumpyradio.com. First lady, over to you.
All right, it's time for the pigskin picks. We are talking about the NFL 2024 season. So last week, we had only one pick for the conference championship. Dizzy Mac, unfortunately, you lost both of those picks, so you're at a minus 1,000 million points. Luckily for me, I had one and missed one, so I didn't get any points. But Spitface, you were the big winner. You picked both of those. You had the Eagles and the Chiefs, so you had 1,000 million points. So the totals, as of going into the Super Bowl, Dizzy Mac, you are in the red. You're at minus 217 million points, but you still got a shot. Spitface, you're at 2,073 million points, and I'm at 2,423 million points. So we got a lot of points to be made here. So let's get to it. Winners and losers. 750 million points. The Chiefs versus the Eagles for the Super Bowl. All right, you know what I said. I don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, so I'm going with the Chiefs. Dizzy Mac, who do you have?
The Eagles.
All right. A lot of you and a lot of pundits got the Eagles. Spitface, who do you have?
I'm going with them boys.
The Eagles. All right. I'm only one to stick with Patrick Mahomes. Okay. All right, let's get to the over-under push. 500 points for each of the categories. Patrick Mahomes, 250 passing yards. Dizzy Mac.
Yes.
Well, no, I need over, under, push.
Over.
All right. Spitface.
I'm going under.
I know that was a tough one for me because Patrick Mahomes in the two playoff games, he hasn't been over 250 passing yards. So, but I think this is going to be, he's going to have to pass because I don't think they could be able to run too much. So I'm going to go with over. All right. Jalen Hurts, 211 passing yards. Spit face.
I'm going with the under.
I'm going with the over because he is going to have to pass. Dizzy Matt.
I'm going with the over.
You said over, okay. All right, Patrick Mahomes, 29 rushing yards. Patrick ran for about 40 yards last time. I'm going to say over. Dizzy Matt?
Over. He's going to be running for his life.
Over. All right, Spit face?
Under.
All right, Jalen Hurts, 40 rushing yards. Dizzy Mac. Did I start with you? Go ahead, Dizzy Mac.
Over.
Spit face.
Over.
I have under. Patrick Mahomes, 1 interception. Spit face.
Push.
I have under. Dizzy Mac.
Over.
All right. Jalen Hurts, 1 interception. I have push. Dizzy Mac.
Under.
Spit face.
Under.
Saquon Barkley, 101 rushing yards. Spit face.
Over.
This was a tough one for me. I'm gonna put over too. I mean, he's just been balling, so I don't think the Chiefs gonna be able to stop him. Dizzy Mac.
Over, because he's going to take the first one to the house.
There ain't gonna be a repeat like the Washington Commanders. Come on now.
Yeah, boy, to the house.
All right. Isaiah Pacheco, 75 rushing yards. Spit face.
Under.
I'm going with under. Dizzy Mac.
Under.
All right. First half scoring, total 24 points. No, first half scoring, total 24 points. I'm going to say under. Dizzy Mac.
I'm going to say over.
Spit face.
I'm going with the under.
Yeah. All right. Dizzy Mac. Second half scoring, total points, 24 points.
Under.
Spit face.
Over.
I'm going to say that's total points. I'm going to say over, too. Fourth down conversion. Total 3. Spit face. So there's only going to be 3 total fourth down conversion for the whole game. Spit face.
Correct. Push.
I'm going to say over. Dizzy Mac.
Under.
All right. Those are worth 500 points. All right. So now we have the most valuable player winner worth 750 points. All right. I'm going to pick Patrick Mahomes. Dizzy Mac.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. All right. Spit face.
Jalen.
Who?
The Hurts brother.
Oh, Jalen Hurts. Okay. Jalen Hurts. All right. We'll see how we do. I mean, that's going to be something because, we'll see how we do. All right. Let's get to the top story next week. Dizzy Mac, what is your top story next week?
My top story next week will be Jimmy Butler hit 50 points in his first game.
Okay, all right. Jimmy Butler getting 50 points. All right. Spitface, what is your top story next week?
It is who won the MVP.
Well, my top stories for next week is basically going to be, the people going to be talking about how the referees gave the Super Bowl to the Chiefs. That's my top story to watch this. I said next week, I meant this week. That's my top story. You know, how the referee gave the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's all they're going to talk about next week.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The conspiracy theory. All right.
Yeah. So that's exactly what they always say. You know, the conspiracy stories against my Chiefs. There's no conspiracy. They the only way you can stop saying it's conspiracy, tell them to stop winning, and that's how you know. All right. You can check out our previous episodes on our web. Actually, you can check it out on our Facebook page, which is BPN Sports. This is Cheryl Smith, the First Lady of Sports Talk, along with Dizzy Mac and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. We'll see who wins that Super Bowl. See you next week.